I made over $2,000 at my first 3-day craft fair. Here's how it went. We are going to go over our best sellers, what sold out, what surprised me, our prices, how much we made, how many plushies we sold, and would I do this market again? Hey guys, so this is the full setup. This is our mock setup for tomorrow. I am so surprised that we were able to fit everything in pretty much one table plus a shelf. I just want to give you a little bit of a rundown of my inventory because it's a little bit different than in the past. And the market is tomorrow. And my mom is going to be at the market tomorrow because I have school. So in case things end up selling a lot, I just want to show you what our starting point was. So over here we have our car hangers on this side and our keychains on this side. And then we've got our larger, more expensive items, our Labubu. And then we have our other characters, some Pokemon, Totoro, SpongeBob characters. And then we've got our little Christmas section with our meanie greenies and our snowmen. We've got a gnome just kind of there. And then we've got our booty turtles. We have our sign that I made for the first time. Stocking stuffer starting at $5. I think it looks great. And then $5 basket. This one is a little bit chaotic. So we've got lots of things in here. Our starfish, my own pattern. We have this tiny, tiny little whale that I freehanded. We've got these springy snakes that are kind of fidgety that I also freehanded, but I got the idea from someone else. Our little turtles. Ooh. Pickles. Our soot sprite looking things. We have this random bee. Just lots of good random stuff that is nice and small. We have our $10 basket, which has all of our tiny the loaf cats and our mini leggy froggies. Next to that, we have two $15 baskets. This one has chubby frogs and bees. And this one is kind of a lot of miscellaneous things that I just couldn't fit anywhere, but they're all $15, so I thought this would make it easy. We got rubber duckies, a mouse, a triceratops, random cow, random pig, random turtle, a couple of my caterpillars, and then we have the $15 shelf behind that, so lots of $15 items for this market. I raised my prices of the mushy pops to $15 just because they're kind of big, and even though they're comparable in size to some of the smaller items, they use a lot of, there's a lot of rows because of the popping mechanism. $15 because there's a lot of little parts to it. It's not just a round ball. And then these guys also with the tentacles, it takes me a little bit longer. And those are all $15-roonies. And then we have our $20 basket down here with our possums, our penguins, and our bears. This nice, cute black and white basket. And then we have our baby safe basket and our tiny, tiny little octos for $5 that are all baby safe. And then we've got, some other baby safe items that all are priced. We've got our capybaras in the front over here. We have some miscellaneous items because I didn't know where else to put them. And then we have our giant possum, some other woodland creatures like our rabbit and our hedgehogs. And then this is one of my favorite parts. We have our stacked cats. This is not a loaf cat. This is my first time selling cats that are not loaves. I don't remember what pattern it is, but I will link it down below. And then we do have a couple of loaf cats still left over from last time. But this is the first non-loaf cat that I ever made, and I'm obsessed with this pattern. I think Miss A Crochet is the one who mentioned it, and then I bought it right away because I just love the look of them, and they're so easy to make. They're no sew, which is awesome. You don't have to sew the tail on. And then we have this little jellyfish, and then our chicken coop. And the chickens are $20. And then over here, this is gonna be our side shelf. So we have our $15 mystery bags, and I made this sign so you can get one of these 6 mystery items plus 3 random stickers. And this is what the bags look like. We just packed them tonight. I think they're gonna be really good sellers, honestly. We've got our axolotls. We have our fancy turtles. I call them fancy turtles because all their shells have like different stuff on them. This one's a peach. We've got a watermelon. We just have like some pretty patterns and stuff. And then down here we have our ocean creatures because I didn't know where else to put them, and some other random larger plushies. And I think that is everything. We have some other extras over here that we're gonna use to replenish things because we just really couldn't fit like I made so many mushy pops and these guys randomly one day. And we have an extra possum. Just some extra things that I just couldn't fit and I didn't feel the need to put on the table at the beginning of the day. But yeah, we have around $4,200 Canadian of inventory to bring to this winter market. Market just opened. I ran here from school. I'm eating my lunch. No sales yet. 17 minutes into the market. And Jared and Mom have been helping. We had our first sale, and it was the dragon that I just showed you for $60. We're at school. We made frogs. We made frogs in our psych class, and I've sold 4 items so far, over $100 worth of stuff. Buy stuff. Hey guys, I just wanted to feature this other crochet booth that I found. We follow each other on Instagram. Her name on Instagram is Clever Crochet, and she had some amazing stuff at her booth. It's 4:16, and we've sold 6 items. A little slow today. We've now sold 10 items, so far today we've sold a $60 dragon, $12 chick keychain, a $30 calico cat, a $20 baby safe chicken, a large axolotl for $25, a mini kitten for $10, a mini turtle and a mini whale each for $5, popping mushroom for $15, and a strawberry keychain for $15. So we're getting there slowly but surely. I think all the kids are back from school now, so that's good. Hi guys, so if we split the booth fee overall into the 3 days, then it's $120-ish per day. And we've made almost 200 so far. So even though it's kind of slow, we made the booth fee back for the day, so that's good. We sold a chicken for $20 and a chicken keychain for $10. We've sold 16 items now, and we only have an hour left of this 7-hour day. We sold a whale car hanger for $20, a mini black cat for $10, a mini axolotl for $15, and another mini black cat for $10. We just sold our first mystery bag, and totaling 17 items. Okay, it's the second day of this craft fair. I got sparkles on my face. I'm wearing a more festive looking fantasy dress. And we just had our first sale of the day, 10 minutes into us opening. And it was a $20 rubber ducky. I'm feeling better about today. The lineup apparently is like outside of the door. And it already seems busier right off the bat. So I think Saturday will hopefully be better. We just made our booth fee back completely, and it's only 20 after 10. The market opened at 10. We have today and tomorrow, so everything else is all profit. We are about an hour into the market now, and we've sold 3 items. That's okay. There's still 6 hours left. We just sold like 5 things in a row, 6 things in a row, all within the span of like 2 minutes. People are trying to be discreet and like running over and throwing us money, and then they just grab the stuff. So we've sold 14 things, and it is almost 2 hours into the market. We are 2 hours into the market, and we've sold exactly 17 items, which is the same amount that we sold in 7 hours yesterday. It is exactly 1 p.m. So we are 3 hours into the market, and we've sold 24 items. Apparently there's a lineup out the door again. So it's super getting busy. Yay! We're exactly halfway through the market now, so we have 3.5 hours left, and we have sold 30 items 4 of which were mystery bags. Or 5. I think we sold 5 mystery bags in total. There was one on the other page.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, yay! Hi guys, so we are 2 hours before the market is gonna close, and we've sold 44 items. It is an hour before the market's going to end, and we've sold 48 items. We are on our way to the last day of this 3-day craft fair, and yesterday we sold 51 items, I think, and we made around $750. So overall, so far, we've made just over $1,000, and everything else today is some more bonus. I'm hoping today is just as good as yesterday. I'm feeling a lot more confident about today compared to the first day, because I know that we've made our booth fee back. Even if we stopped now, it would be decently worth it-ish. But it'll be even more worth it probably after today. And you guys, I'm sorry that I haven't been filming that many of the interactions. It's just kind of quiet in our room, so it feels very invasive to be filming the interactions. And it's just very obvious compared to an outdoor market. So I will give you a full rundown of the entire market and everything I sold and how it went and my highlights and everything after. My favorite part about this market is that we don't have to set up and take down every day, so I'm literally showing up 10 minutes before it starts and everything is just completely set up for me. We're part of the gnome contest today, so we have a gnome at our booth, and we have to give a kid a stamp on their little scavenger hunt when they find it. So that will be fun. We just sold our last mini axolotl in the first hour of today. So I'm making a blue one right now. I brought some more yarn to make some other mini axolotls, but yeah, those things sell like hotcakes. It has been an hour into the market and we have sold 8 items. We just are selling a lot of like $20 to $25 items, so that's been really good. We're about 2 hours into the market and we have sold 16 items. Yay! And they brought us food. I'll explain that in my recap. But the food service here is excellent. We are about 2.5 hours away from closing of the market and we have sold 34 items. I have made 3.5 cats since being here, and there's only ever been one sitting out because every time I make one, I start making another one and then someone buys the one that I had just made. So the little tiny kittens, my own pattern, they're doing great. We have just under 2 hours left in the market and we've sold 37 items. We just sold a booty turtle for $30. That's my favorite thing, and we haven't sold any all weekend, so I'm happy that someone likes them. Hey guys, so we are 1 hour out before the market closes and we've sold 46 items, so to beat yesterday, we need to sell 5 more items, or or 6, I guess, if we want to beat it. But if we want to match it, 5 more. How are we feeling?
We're feeling amazing.
Yay! We just surpassed how many plushies we sold. Yesterday we sold 53 items and we still have just over half an hour left in the market. We just made it to 60 items for the day and it is officially closed, but someone else I think is going to come back and grab a cat from us because they are one of the vendors here, but I can't believe we made it there. Welcome back to our market recap. We are going to go over our best sellers, our worst sellers, how many plushies we sold, every single thing that we sold, what sold out, how much we made, and would I do this market again next year? On day 1 was the Friday, and it was a lot slower than the other days. We only sold 18 plushies total in a 7-hour period. I'm so thankful for my mom for being there because I was at school for most of the day, so I didn't have to sit through the huge lull, and the majority of the plushies that we sold were actually when I got back from school after 4:30-ish, because that's when most people are off work. So that makes sense why most of the plushies were sold at that time. I kind of wish that they lowered the booth fee a little bit and then just scratched the Friday altogether, because I don't really know if it was worth it for anyone. In total, we made $327 on the Friday, which did not even cover the booth fee. The booth fee was $365 for this market. On day 2, we did so much better. The Saturday was great. Things were looking up. I was a little bit stressed out. We made our entire booth fee back within the first hour because there was only a little bit left to make back. But in total, on day 2, we sold 52 plushies and made $745. And day 3 was the champion of this market. Day 3 was the Sunday, and I honestly was expecting the Saturday to be the most busy, but I heard that there was another market happening on the same weekend, and this city is really not very big, so it's likely that a lot of people went to one market on the Saturday and another market on the Sunday. Also, a lot of people work on Saturdays and get Sundays off. Like some of my friends, they told me that if they were gonna come, it would be on the Sunday. So we sold 61 plushies on the final day of this market, and we made $933 on just that day. In total, through the whole 3-day Christmas craft fair, we sold 131 plushies, and we sold $2,005 worth of inventory. So now I'm gonna go through the top 3 best sellers of the whole market, and then we're gonna go through every single thing that we sold. Coming in at number 3 was actually a tie between 2 different plushies, but they were both $5 plushies. So we sold 9 tiny whales for $5, and we also sold 9 tiny octos for $5. Coming in at number 2, we sold 13 mushy pops. 2 of them were baby safe, and then 11 of them were just the regular mushy pops, and I sold those for $15. I'm really glad that those still sold well because I raised the price from $12 to $15. I'm so glad that they still did really well. And then coming in at our number 1 bestseller, and I think this has been a number 1 bestseller for some other markets as well, is our $10 Tiny the Mini Kitten pattern, which is my own pattern on Instagram, and we sold 15 of those. I actually only brought 12, and then I sold all of them, and I started making them, and as I was making them, they were selling. So in total, we sold 15. So now I'm gonna list every single other item that we sold and how many of them we sold and their prices. Our first item of the whole market that we sold was actually our $60 dragon. So I was super stoked about that because it was one of my favorite items. But the rest of these are not gonna be in order of how we sold them. So we sold 3 $12 keychains, 3 plushine style cats for $30. We sold 4 $20 chickens, 4 $25 axolotls, 3 tiny turtles for $5, 4 $15 keychains, 3 $10 keychains, 3 car hangers for $20, 6 mini axolotls for $15, 7 mystery bags for $15, 1 squid for $30, 1 bee for $15, 3 fancy turtles for $25, 1 toad for $25, 1 snowman for $20, 3 mini greenies or baby Grinches for $25, 1 SpongeBob and 1 Patrick, both for $20, 3 capybaras for $25, 3 mini leggy froggies for $10, 1 Totoro for $20, 1 baby safe octopus for $15, 1 spider for $25, 4 springy snakes for $5, 1 mouse for $15, 4 possums for $20, 3 of which were alive and 1 was the playing dead possum, 1 pink dolphin for $20, 1 $7 keychain, 1 dog for $35, 3 hedgehogs for $25, 1 loaf cat for $40, 1 penguin for $20, 1 chubby frog for $15, 1 booty turtle for $30, and 1 pickle for $5. Some things that I was surprised by how they did was the $15 octos that are like the Minis Crochet Creations pattern that I normally use. I upped their price from $12 to $15, just like I did for the mushy pops, because they take around the same amount of work, and we didn't sell a single one through the whole market. People were really liking the $5 tiny octos, but no one really liked the $15 octos, so I might have to lower the price of those again. I'm also surprised that I only sold 7 mystery bags. I know that 7 is like a decent amount, but over the course of 3 days, I really thought that we would have sold a lot more I brought 21 with me, anticipating to sell out of them because normally mystery bags do really well for me. And my last mystery bags that I did were $20 and I lowered these ones to $15, but I had a new sign that said the 6 items that you could get in it, and then you still get 3 stickers with it. And I also thought since you could see what was gonna be in it, that people would really like those, and people did. I just didn't sell as many as I thought I would. I was super surprised that I sold 9 of the tiny octos. I know that $5 items generally do well, but those ones I did embroidered eyes so that I would have a smaller baby safe item, and I made like 20 of those in class one day, just because I didn't have anything else to make and I only had 2 colors with me. So I made a bunch of blue ones and a bunch of pink ones because I thought it'd be cute for like, I don't know, gender reveal vibes or something like that. They're a lot smaller than my other $5 items and they don't have the like cute regular eyes. So I was like, surely there aren't gonna be like a ton of people shopping for baby safe items, especially for really, really tiny ones. But a lot of like teenage age people or like tweens really loved those and they gravitated more towards those embroidered eye octos than the other $5 items that I have. So I'm really happy that those went well because I thought that I was just gonna have to get rid of them. I just didn't, or lower the price to like $3 because they're so tiny. I also was surprised that I only sold 1 chubby frog. I think I brought 6 of them. And I think that they are just so cute, but I saw someone else holding a smaller version, just using smaller yarn, and I'm pretty sure that the other crocheter at the craft fair was also selling those, and she might have been selling them for cheaper because they were slightly smaller than mine. People seem to be gravitating more towards the leggy froggies, the tiny leggy froggies, than the chubby frogs. So that's good to know for the future. 4 plushies sold out, so we sold out of capybaras. We had 3 of them at the beginning. They're $25 and we sold out. We sold out, like I said earlier, of the mini kittens, which was our best seller. We sold 15, but we started with 12. And then we sold out of our mini axolotls. We started with 6 and we sold 6. And then I started making more, but no one bought any after that. But I'm still gonna count that as selling out because that's how many I brought. And then we sold out of our alive possums. So we have, I brought 5 possums, 3 were alive and 2 were playing dead. And we sold all 3 of the live ones and then we sold 1 dead one. So we only have 1 possum left. Now I'm gonna just talk a little bit about the vibe of the market, how I liked it in general, the organization, the layout, stuff like that. So the food service at this market was fantastic. The prices were amazing. It was like $8-ish for a meal. So you could literally get like 2 little meals and eat them together. One of the days I got chili, and then the other day I got butternut squash soup with chips and a hot dog, but with no bun. And I kind of smushed them together into one meal and it was still only like $15. So that was awesome. And you basically fill out this little form and then you give your final price and you hand it into the food people at the cafeteria area. And then they have people bring it to you so that you don't have to leave your booth. And that was just amazing. I was freaking out a little bit because there was one other crocheter there and her prices were a lot less than mine for what she was selling. She was selling a lot of larger plushies and her $5 items were like the same size as my $10 items. And I was just really scared that people were gonna go through the whole market, see that hers was way less expensive than mine, and then only buy from her, which kind of felt like it was happening on the Friday, but then on the rest of the days, the Saturday and Sunday, people were not complaining about my prices. The reason why I raised some of my prices was 1, because some of my stuff was selling really fast and, you know, supply and demand. And then 2, because the booth fee was so expensive that I just wanted to make up for it a little bit. So I think you do have to price competitively. I'm not like mad that her prices were less expensive because everyone prices their plushies differently. And I understand that not everyone prices for time and that maybe she can crochet faster than me. Like there are so many factors to people pricing things, but people were like commenting on their commenting under their breaths about my prices, and that didn't make me feel very good. A lot of people were comparing my prices to the 3D printed items because there were like 3 3D printed vendors there and they had lots of things for like $2, $3, $4 that were like decent sized. And they had some like bigger items that were like $18. And there was this one girl who came up to my booth and she was like looking at my mushy pop and she was like, that's $15. My sister got this huge 3D printed dragon for like 18. And she just stared at me for a second and then I just stared her right back. I was holding so many words in and I was just like, And then she walked away. But then later her mom came back and bought it for her for Christmas probably. So that made me feel a little bit better. But still, pricing is kind of one of the things I'm insecure about because it's really hard to price for your time and some people just don't get it. But I think if the booth fee was a little bit less, I would have kept my prices where they were at my other markets. And I don't know if I'm gonna keep them at that $15 mark in the future. I also think it really depends on what city you live in, because in Victoria, people don't even bat an eye at my prices. But here in Nanaimo, it's like basically a smaller version of Victoria. And I feel like people are just less likely to splurge on things in general. But I follow the other crocheter on Instagram. I'll try to link her down below. She's super nice and her stuff is amazing. She has a really different style than I do, and I think that bode well for both of us, honestly. I think we both ended up doing really well at the end of the weekend. I was just getting really in my head about it, but she had some really nice stuff. I went to check out her booth. I think I threw a clip in there of her booth, and yeah, she's super talented, so nothing against her at all. So they had this game where they hid little gnomes in a bunch of different locations. I think there were like 9 or 10 gnomes hidden around the whole market as kind of an incentive to get the parents and the kids to go around the entire market, I guess, to make sure they hit every single room, but also to give the kids something to do so that they don't get bored, I guess. The prize, when you get stamps from all the vendors that have the gnome at their market or at their stall, was either the same gnome or a plushie. So the last day they were giving out little Squishmallow plushies, and I was a little bit frustrated by that because I was like, why would you give something away that some of the vendors are selling? Because then the kids are just seeing what the prize could be and then they get it for free, and then they're not gonna buy a plushie because they get one for free already. And then also some of the kids were like really fixated on the gnome thing, and so they didn't have any kind of incentive to like actually look at the booths. They were just looking for the gnome. And I understand it was great that it got them to go around the whole market and it gave them something to do while the parents were actually shopping. But on the days that, so the final day, I actually had a gnome at my booth and it forced the kids to come up to my booth. But on the other days, if I didn't have the gnome, and they realized that I didn't have the gnome, then they didn't really look around my booth very much. They were only looking through the booths that had the gnome. But I think it actually helped me a lot on the final day when I did have the gnome. So maybe next time I'll just ask to have the gnome at least one day, but they switch it every day. So you can't have it on all 3 days. Anyways, that was something that they did. I still don't really know how I felt about it, but overall it was fine, I guess. The organizers were super kind. They gave away a $200 market money raffle every hour of the first 2 days of the market. Also, the market organizer would come around with chocolate like once or twice a day and just give it to the vendors. So that was really sweet. So the big question is, was this market worth it and would I do it again? The first day, I would say absolutely not. But overall, the whole market, I made like $2,000 and the booth fee was $365. So sometimes when I'm trying to figure out if markets were worth it for the booth fee versus how much I made, I will calculate the percentage that the booth fee is taking from my overall earnings. So I calculated it and it turns out that the booth fee took away 18% of my overall earnings. And I think that anything under 25% is a win. Yes, the booth fee was a lot, but for me personally, I do think that this was worth it. I would do it again next year. It was really fun. It was just very happy. I haven't done a lot of Christmassy markets, but people were dressed up. It was a fantasy craft fair. It was called Once Upon a Craft Fair, and a lot of the people who were volunteering there or who were working there had like beautiful dresses. People were dressed up as fairies and Disney princesses, and it was just a really fun time. It was really fun having the gnome and seeing the look on the kids' faces when they actually found it. And it was just fun talking to everyone. My goal for this market was to sell $1,500 worth of inventory in order to make it worth it for me. And I ended up making above that. So absolutely, I think it was worth it. It was a little bit scary on the Friday, but if it goes the exact same next year for me as it did this year, I would be happy to be in this market again next year. So thank you guys so much for watching this Christmas market vlog. Thank you for joining me on my very first ever 3-day market. I am absolutely exhausted. I fell asleep at 7 p.m. last night. This is the day after the Sunday of the market. I took the fattest nap, but I do have 3 more Christmas craft fairs coming up this season. So I would love it if you liked and subscribed so that you can stay updated and see some of my other market vlogs and market prep vlogs. I might do some yarn reviews later. I've got lots of fun things planned, even though I have such a busy schedule with school right now. So thank you for sticking with me through this time. Okay, love you guys. Bye.